Hello and welcome. I can't believe it's Thursday again already. It goes round really quick, doesn't it? So lovely to see you all, ladies. And this week we are joined by the lovely Dwayne Lewis. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And just so we're clear, I am in the UK, even though I have an accent. Just so. Okay.
Thank you for that, Dwayne. And we're really looking forward to hearing your journey a little bit later. But before we do, I just thought I would start by asking the lovely ladies how their week's gone. So, Sam, my love, can I start with you?
Of course you can. Hi, everybody. Welcome, Blondes, to... Gosh, yeah, you're right, Kim. I can't believe it's Thursday already. We are whistle-stopping through this new lockdown too. My week, let me think. I've had a lot of peer group sessions this week, and something that's really stood out for me is when looking at all the challenges that businesses have got, they're no different to what they have always been, pre-COVID, post-COVID. They're no different to what they're going to be in 2021 and 2022. So for that, I think it's very familiar, and I'm loving that word this week about it being familiar and supportive and inclusive as well. But yeah, really interesting that all the challenges that I'm hearing this week are no different to what they were, in January of this year before anything broke and anything rocked our world. For me, that's encouraging.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're right. Often we get a new problem and we think it's new, but actually it's just something that we faced before, just under a different guise. And when we get ourselves in that place, we can really step out and do something different, can't we?
Yeah, sorry, Kim, we're all coaches, and how many times have we heard, oh, well, I've got a unique problem and you're not going to have heard of this before, or my business is really unique, or my situation is really unique, but it really isn't, is it?
No, absolutely. Caroline, I saw you were nodding along to that. How's your week gone, my love?
Well, it's gone really well. I'm a life coach, so I'm in the removals business, which removals and haulage, i.e. removing excuses from people and hauling them forward. And this week I've been saying to people, look, if you're a coach or anyone in business, this is like the gold rush time. It's not gone flat. It's not locked down. It's like, how can I start mining for gold here? Because I think the world is wanting to change. So we are there to help them change. And this is couldn't be a better time for coaches, consultants, people in business, help people change their lives. It's like the Klondike out there. Get your pan out, start panhandling for gold, and you will find a little nugget in there. So don't use it as an excuse. Oh, it's a lockdown, I can't do anything. No, now is the time. Now is the time to do it. So that's what I'm finding this week. Hunt for your nugget of gold. Well, this is an amethyst, but you know what I mean.
I love it. Absolutely. We need to do more panhandling. Penny, my lovely, how about you?
Well, I find it interesting what Sam's just said about business is business, that we think we're going to look for blame, that COVID's created all this thing. But, my health check, I analyse every month the changes that are across all the 42 questions. And one of the questions is, do you ever feel lonely in your business life? And business loneliness is very, very different to loneliness at home. It's, it shows up as your self-esteem, or maybe your feeling of self-value, getting inspiration, your mojo, maybe less referrals because you're not really tuned into people. Do you know, in February, pre-COVID, business loneliness, 66% of people said they were lonely. And this month, 63% said they were lonely as an average, which means, like you say, Sam, if you're not connecting properly in business and you're not somebody that's actually genuinely interested in, helping people get referrals, getting to really deeply understand them, you're going to be lonely, whether COVID or not. So, I think that's what I've been really noticing. I ran a webinar yesterday and it came up really strongly, this, and none of them were really connecting properly with people, just broadcasting and stuff. So,
no, that's great. That's great advice. And actually, the more we actually connect, the more we can support, because as we know, we can't serve until we know what it is that people need. And when we can identify their need, then we can better serve them. But I think certainly from a lot of people that I've been talking to, they've got a little bit stuck thinking about what they need rather than thinking about what their customer needs. And if you come at it from that point of view, you're not going to find your clients because you're not really interested in their needs and their support, are you?
No, that's a good point.
I guess, segues nicely into this week's guest. So, as I said, it's the lovely Dwayne Lewis. You will have noticed that he is originally from New York, albeit now lives in the UK. He's an ex-ad man and now specialises in helping businesses to really have impact, particularly around social media. And I know from our previous chat, Dwayne, that you've actually found some real mojo since the pandemic, haven't you? And some lessons that you wish you'd learnt earlier.
Absolutely, Kim. But first, I'd just like to thank everyone for having me here today. It's a pleasure to meet everyone. Thank you. It's a real privilege to be here. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I have kind of found my mojo, and but what I'm doing is not really rocket science. I think, when you're faced with adversity like this thing, like the pandemic, it's just like what Carol said. There is opportunity out there. You just need to really kind of look for it, and a lot of it depends on your perspective, because there's a lot of abundance out there for everyone, and but you just need to have some basic rituals put in place, and just find the opportunity, because it is there. And it goes back again to about what you said as well, Kim. It's interesting that you need to find out what people want, and I think a lot of what I have been doing in the last few months, even before the pandemic, has been focusing on providing the value. I haven't been chasing business. I heard someone online was talking about just simply providing the value, and that's been my main focus. And that strategy has just helped people get more attracted to what I'm doing. And thank goodness for the power of information technology and the internet and social media, that I'm able to put that narrative out there to people, and they can just engage with me. So it's all been good. Yeah, thank you.
Just following on what you said there, Dwayne, I'm just reading a great book called The Practice by Seth Godin, the great marketing guru. And he was saying rituals and habits is what creates success. We love the creation, we love the thing we do, but it's having rituals and structure and a process that helps us deliver the thing we love doing. And it's having that in place that will breed success. Because that's the thing that supports you, is the practice and the rituals.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. The only slight variation on that, I would say, is I think success is something. It's not something you pursue. It's something that you attract. And I'm not trying to be Mr. Smiley motivational guy here, but I think to attract it, you need to become an attractive person, which is kind of like a metaphor for providing the value, and how that looks in your industry will vary and differ. But by providing the value and doing that, people become more attracted to the proposition that you're putting out there, because you can actually help them. And I think if everyone had that perspective, we can all significantly benefit, because it's kind of hard to do at the moment with the current situation, and then the narrative that the media have, and it takes you off your focus. But yeah, absolutely, Carol. It is important to attract success. Yes.
Mm. So because I really like that. I do believe. Well, do you remember the law of attraction? That went crazy, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
10 years ago or something. So and what's coming through from you is that it's very much about values and how you show up.
Yeah. Showing up is important.
It is how you show up, and how that comes across in what you write. And so many people get people to write their blogs for them or things like that. You think, well, that you're not coming through. Your values aren't coming through. So tell us a bit more about what you do that people can be attracted towards coming towards you for.
Oh, great question. Okay, well, thank you. Yeah. Well, in a nutshell, when people ask me what I do, I help them monetize their social media assets. And monetizing could also mean getting appointments or engaging with customers, promoting your brand. And the key theme that underpins all of that is really, really focusing on the value. And I also appreciate that some people, they work on their own, and they probably haven't got the time to create reams and reams of social content, and that's understandable. However, I think it's important to be true to yourself, and put out content that is a reflection of you, but also at the same time, you have to be completely selfless in that you are providing value. always focus on the value. If you've seen any of my posts on LinkedIn, you know, I give away a lot of information that other people charge for. And I do that because, well, I know that some people simply won't have the time as well, but I want to try to not be like everyone else and simply just give them the value. I can't say, oh my God, I love creating content on social media. What I love about this is that it's a skill that I have that I can help other businesses engage with people or anyone who's actually using this, because the mobile phones are everywhere. The internet is at scale. Facebook is at scale. LinkedIn, all the social media platforms are at scale. So it presents tremendous opportunity for anyone and everyone. So that's my thoughts on that.
Can I ask you, because what I'm loving about you and the way you're coming across is your lovely energy. You're so smiley, and you're so positive, and I love that, because one of my things is energy. Like I steal people's energy. So what is it about? What can you tell us about, how can you stay energized? I'm assuming you're working from home right now. And
I do, yeah. I work a lot autonomously, and even before lockdown, I worked at home a lot, but I had the flexibility of going out and working in remote locations, kind of like a digital nomad. When I travel abroad, I'm still working. The energy thing comes from, lifestyle. It's just my perspective on things. Over the last year before the pandemic, I just, had a reality check, and I just don't simply take things that seriously, because my perspective is I always know if I'm working hard, right, and I've got my discipline, meaning, my little rituals. I'll get up at like 5 a.m. I'll have a little workout, and then come back. I'll do some work, have lunch, have breakfast or whatever, and then work on myself harder than I work on the job, if you know what I mean, meaning always kind of developing and growing and learning.
yeah,
I just feel like I've just got the control. And even with all of that, it doesn't always go to plan. I have some days where, I just do not want to do it, but I do it, and those are the tough days. But I do it. And, it's just my whole perspective has changed, on when I started getting a little bit more disciplined and started joining the 5 a.m. club, getting up really early. And it's not for everybody, and I appreciate that, but I just get more done. And it just keeps me focused, and it makes me happy, because I'm not chasing business. I'm not chasing the success. I'm just providing the value, and it's just coming, and it just seems to work. And I also do a little bit of meditation twice a day, in the morning and at night before I go to bed. And I do a lot of visualization. And I know, again, that's not for everybody as well, but it's so powerful, because we have all these mental faculties about us. We have this energy, all of us, we all have it, and we're just not really taught how to use it. I've read a few books and just started practicing on my own. I haven't been on any courses, but everything is just like falling into place. And it's a little scary, because I just think, wow, why couldn't I do this like 10 years ago, when I was like working for someone? But that's where the energy comes from. It comes from the rituals and the discipline, and having the right mindset. I think having the psychology right. So
I think discipline is so important. I think
absolutely.
I think this is one of the hardest things when people go and work for themselves, is instilling a discipline in their business, and making sure that they almost treat themselves like a boss would. They have to be their own boss, don't they?
Yeah.
I think it's important that you say about the tough days as well as the good days.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you said, Wayne, that you sometimes have days where you don't feel like it. Well, quite often we don't feel like it. We can't be at the top of our performance all the time. But I think having a ritual means that you can still do something each day. And I think progress is better than procrastination and avoidance. So even when you're not feeling on top of your game, you're a bit tired, I don't know, some bad news has come in, you're still doing something. And then on a good day, your processes and your rituals truly support you. And I think it is about discipline, but it's also about really loving what you do. Because if you really love your meditation and your little mini workout and your visualizations and then your start of the day, it's less about the discipline and more, I want to do this, rather than willpower, which is non-sustainable. Willpower requires a lot of energy, whereas loving what you do requires a sort of effortless flow.
That's right. And I think it's equally important, Carol, to have a why. Because when you have the why, if you got the right why, the how is actually kind of easy. I think Jim Rohn actually said that. He's deceased now. He was a inspirational, transformational speaker person. But I think that's really, really important. And it took me a little. My why is the freedom. I like to have the freedom, obviously, to be able to pay my bills. But the why is having that autonomy and the freedom to be like the captain of my own ship, the master of my own destiny,
Yeah.
and do my own thing. And it's kind of tough to get there because a lot of people don't know what their why is. And the advice to try to figure that out, especially when you're locked into a job and if you're in a relationship, married with kids, home, mortgage, bills, and everything, it is important to try to do a little bit extra if you can. That's why I'm a big believer in always trying to self-improve, because when I was working for someone, I was getting a paycheck, but I just really wasn't really fulfilled, and I wanted things to change. And I think if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. How do we get better? We can learn. We're in this age where we can, all of us can learn anything on YouTube and Google. You can Google it and learn it, and then put it into practice. It's not enough to just read and do it, but you need to put it into practice and take action. And I think that's really important. I think that's really, really important. And I think that's the sort of narrative, a lot of businesses or the media should be putting out there, especially to young people, because I think they're a little misguided, need a little bit of direction. And
do you? So I'd love to get on the topic of, when you've got your why, and I do believe in it, and then you combine that with your disciplines.
Yeah.
Something that a lot of people, the 1980s kid in me was brought up on having goals, and they were big, hairy, scary goals. And I think we're all learning that those are pretty dangerous now. But it's interesting, in this poll again that we do every month, 86% of people said they know what success looks like, but 45% said they had no written goals.
Yeah.
Which I found really interesting.
What
do you feel about goal setting for yourself?
Well, sometimes you have to have a goal. I think you have to have a direction that you're going to be going in, and everyone's success will be different. Everyone has a different barometer in terms of what their level of success is going to be. But again, the goal is the why. You need to know where you're going before you actually get there. And once you know where you're going, and like Carol said, it's something that you love and you're really passionate about. I mean, really, really love. The how will work its way. Will work its way. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. You just figure it out. And but you have to do something, which is where Kim, Sam, the discipline comes in. That's where you have to do the work. You just can't want it and then go have a sandwich. You can't do it. It just doesn't work like that. There's no algorithm.
You're so right. So many of business owners I speak to don't know their why. And we spend a lot of time trying to figure that out. But also, I do appreciate it's not something that comes overnight. You can't just go, oh yeah, that's my why. It takes a lot of consideration. But it's critical, I believe, to the whole process. I completely endorse everything you're saying, Dwayne. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just so conditioned through the process of life that, working, their normal job, if they have commitments, financial, relationship commitments, they're just too distracted to really focus on themselves, to understand why, what is it they really want to do? What is it that really motivates them and drives them? What are they really, really passionate about? Because once you find that out, man, you're off. And believe it or not, there's more than a few things that, that will really turn us all on. It could be maybe 3 or 4 things, but we don't get that unless we are prepared, to operate outside our comfort zone. We'll always be limited to what we currently do, which is a bit of a shame, really.
That's a subject, your comfort zone.
Yeah.
On the other side of the comfort zone is where all your dreams are. So you have to get out of that comfort zone. One of my heroes is Frank Sinatra, and my favorite quote of his is, "If you think you're coasting, you're actually going downhill." So even Frank knew if I feel like I'm coasting, I need to go up a level. And that's what you were saying, Wayne. Learn, re-educate, learn from other people. It's getting somewhere, but just don't go along the same way, because you will end up going down in the end. People
absolutely. Yeah. But we're not taught that. We're conditioned to think a different way. You know, we're conditioned to go to school, go to uni, learn, and then fit into a system where we contribute to the economy and work for a living. But the reality, with hindsight, I look back at my own university education. I was fortunate enough to study over here in England as well, in London, down at Brunel University for a year. And when I look back with hindsight, I realized that the whole purpose of higher education, right, was to teach me how to think and speak and be articulate and persuade. Because if anyone, I don't care who you are, if anyone can do that with a degree of competency, that is ultimate power. That is the power of the best sort. I mean, no one can deny that. If you can think, write, and speak and persuade people, you're on a winner. You would just hope that whoever has that skill uses it for the greater good, you know. And so that's why I try to, you know, when I have spare time and I'm not creating campaigns, is I'm always on this never ending journey to, you know, to learn stuff. Like, since we were in lockdown, I was telling Kim, I learned how to trade stock options, you know, and it's crazy. And that's like my little side hustle now. And I've been doing it for like a little over 2.5 months. I'm not making millions, but I've made some money learning how to trade stock options from a $15 course that I found on Google. Go figure.
What's great, Wayne, Kim has also been reinventing what you do, and you've gone from being a coach to graphics artist. You've learned all these new skills in the last few weeks, haven't you?
Yeah, and I guess that was that's kind of one of the things we were chatting earlier. I think it's a Chinese proverb that said that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is right now. And I think sometimes we worry, don't we, that we've not got enough time, or we've not got enough money, or we've not got something else. And you know, since lockdown, we've all hit those challenges. And in kind of producing my latest coaching program, I suddenly found that I needed to build a new brand, and I needed to do a new website, and I needed to get new logos, and hadn't really got the money to go and get those done for me. So learned them myself. So I think you're right, Dwayne, on that. You can learn anything with the art of YouTube. Sometimes you've just got to take the risk and give it a try, because if not, we're not going to move forward, are we?
No.
How do you, when you find those moments where you're stuck, or you're thinking about what to learn next, have you got any advice for how you identify what's going to move you forward?
Yeah, you know, you do get days like that when you're knocking your head. You feel like you're knocking your head against the wall. You're fed up. You're tired. And usually what I do is, because I do some work with optometrists, believe it or not, in America, I take a break. I take like a 20-minute break from my computer and go outside, and I walk around the block or something like that, and just clear my head and just kind of remember, you know, who I am. And, you know, life can't throw anything at us that we can't actually handle. Really, that's a fact. Okay. It just depends on your perspective. Okay. And, you know, we can always get through these things. And when you're frustrated, you just need to take a step back and just relax, think. You know, you could even apply the old Mel Robbins 5-second rule, whatever you want to do. And then you just get back into it. You know, you remember your why, you remember the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. And I know it's an old cliche, but you also need to sometimes remember what you already achieved to date if you get stuck and feel a little bit demotivated. You know, motivation is very fleeting. It's very fleeting.
Can I ask you, Dwayne, can I ask you about, I mean, obviously you're a guy from New York originally. Yeah. Obviously it's been a big few weeks in America. You know, what's the business culture like? Is it different? Is it just as easy to, you know, to be of that positive mindset over in New York?
Yeah. Well, as you know, with the media, there's a very negative narrative, and you got the political backdrop of everything going on with Donald Trump, et cetera, et cetera. You would imagine it would be very, very difficult for anyone to stay motivated. But irrespective if you're in America, or if you're in Europe, or if you're here in the UK, you can always stay very positive. Again, it depends on your perspective, which is always a bit of a challenge, especially when the information around you is so negative. You know what I mean? So I think, well, from the people that I talk to in the States, you know, they're concerned. You know, there's a lot of discussion around, you know, the political landscape, what's going to happen, the pandemic, people being locked down, not being able to see families and things of that nature. So they're preoccupied with that. I mean, I have one client who's in the real estate business, commercial real estate business. So we've just been doing some thinking outside the box. You know, we've been going out on their end. They've been doing virtual tours of businesses, of commercial office space, uploading them to the computer, sending them to me, and then I create little videos around them with a little narrative. Great. So that's how you get around it. You know, it's being, you know, just being able to adapt to the current situation. But the climate, the mood is pretty much what it is here. But I do believe that to remain positive, it all depends on your perspective, and it doesn't matter if you're in America or if you're here. I hope that answers your question.
That's a great.
That is so true. And I'm conscious that we've only got a few minutes to the end.
What?
That whole day it's disappeared in seconds, as always. So before we go, we always like to share our tip for the week. So I'm going to start, if I can, please, with the lovely Penny.
Oh, am I muted? I did mute myself. No, I'm not muted. Brilliant, lovely to hear about you, Dwayne. Very inspiring, and I'm gonna look you up, so to speak.
Okay.
And I just want to continue what I said at the beginning about business loneliness, I guess. And I think I've encouraged a few people that I know to create a little support group, close support group about them. So I think because also it's a very business need, and you know, if you create a good support group around you, you're going to get referrals because they're going to deeply want you to be successful and also understand your values and your skills. So maybe this week as a tip, just think about your network and pick out a few people and say, do you fancy just going into a small Facebook group with 10 of us, and let's just be honest and true to one another and help each other grow each other's businesses. So that would be my tip for this week.
Brilliant. Thank you, lovely. How about you, Sam?
I'm going to follow that. Absolutely. And something that I've talked about this week a lot in our peer groups. I was saying about the challenges being the same, but we've had a lot of fun over the last couple of weeks getting to know each other. There's 6 new peer groups that have formed, and we've had a lot of fun. And even though business is tough right now, you know, I'm jumping on your bandwagon, Dwayne, about keeping high energy and Penny, supporting each other and keeping it a little bit lighthearted at times. You know, just having that moment where you can just have a bit of fun, even though there's some serious stuff going on.
I love it. Can't be a bit more fun, can we? Caroline, my lovely, how about you?
I think it's really important to laugh at yourself. I do every time I look in the bathroom mirror. But anyway, what I would say is my tip of the week is, if you're sitting around thinking, oh, I'll just go and declutter my drawers, and you're not even thinking of your business, think, what is the real thing that's holding you back here? What is that thing? And be very honest with yourself, because it's usually fear. And if it's, I don't know something, well, you've got Kim, you've got Sam, you've got Penny, you've got Dwayne, you've got Carol here. Ask people. If you don't know something and you're stuck because you don't know tech or you don't know how to do, reach out, because that's not enough to just keep you stuck in one place. There's a world of knowledge out there. So I would say, be honest with yourself. What is the thing that's holding me back? And then action it.
I love it. That is such great advice, because I think that's often the thing, isn't it? Is people get stuck, they don't know the answer, but they don't ask the question either. They keep asking themselves the question, and sometimes that just gets you more and more frustrated. You've got to get out of your own head sometimes, and just saying it out loud. I know this certainly happens for me. Sometimes when I say it out loud, often to you girls, I'll suddenly go, I realise now how ridiculous that is, and yet I've been thinking on that for days and getting myself really stuck. So I think you're right. The ability to go and talk to other people is crucial. And also, like Dwayne said, learn a new skill. You know, if we don't know how to do it, Google it, find out, have a play. You'd be amazed what you can do when you try. So we're out of time. Dwayne, thank you so very much. It's been a delight, as always, to chat to you. Your energy is always amazing. And Sam, I'm sure I've stolen plenty of it for her afternoon. So it's been great to have you here. And
thank you for having me.
See you, lovely ladies. If anybody would like to get in touch and be a guest, be in Dwayne's seat, so then you can find us on www.businessblondes.tv. And we will look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care.
Bye.